I realized that with him, and it would be him to answer your question, but it's him because there's no like, I hope he has a bad game today. You know what I mean? Like that's when I noticed. I was like, oh, like we're all here. Like hopefully he's not on tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there is none of that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't really exist. And I think that's where it's like he's just on another level.
What's up, FCD fans? Welcome to another episode of the DTID podcast. Today, I'm joined by the boy himself, aka Sebastian Lletget. Sebastian, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. My first question is actually about that nickname, the boy. What's the origin?
Oh my God, that goes back. In full transparency, it goes back to Instagram kind of, cracking on, getting some traction. I was in Europe at the time. I was playing for West Ham, and I was sitting in my I remember clearly I was like in the bathroom, doing the shower scene, and I was like, kind of like, like a light bulb, man. You just got to get an idea. I was like, how do I make this like way more interesting than just like S. Lletget or some handle, kind of more of a generic handle. So I was like, they love a boy. I was like, I don't know what came over me. I will say, I'll give you a little inside scoop here. I am a big Drake fan. Okay. So, and he does refer to himself as the boy. So there was a little bit of a play there, but I had to switch it up. I had to put the DA. I don't know. I mean, it was the Bay Area in me too. It was kind of like the way we speak back home, and I don't know. I put a little flair into it.
Well, it worked. It caught on.
It caught on, yeah.
But let's go back. So you're from San Francisco. Is that where your whole soccer career started? Is that where you learned the game?
Yeah, I'm born and raised South San Francisco, to be specific, 10 minutes outside the city. Really, really proud of where I'm from. Really cultured place. Argentinian parents, immigrants, and definitely proud of that. And yeah, I mean, I grew up playing there. Not much opportunity, to be honest with you, but my dad was very persistent. And we persevered and found ways, and the universe somehow paid us back. Got scouted, and then ended up at West Ham. That's kind of how it started in a way.
This is your dad who got you into the game originally?
He did, yeah. He's a crazy about the game. He still is. I still have to kind of wait. If we lose a game, I still got to wait. There's been times where I call him. He's like, no, I can't talk right now.
That's soccer dad doesn't stop.
Yeah, he's an Argentinian father to the T.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What was your club soccer career in California like?
It was as good as it could be. I think opportunities are better now, which is exactly where we wanted it to go, I think, as a country. But it was a little stop-start in the sense of like training schedules. I don't know what the schedules are for younger players now, but we didn't have academies. We had to kind of go through the club soccer. Things were sometimes expensive, and thankfully for sponsorships and people who believed in me kind of, made way for me, or made a spot for me, made it available for me. And, because my parents weren't earning crazy wages. And so it was a battle, but we found a way. And thankfully, one of the biggest, I think, breakthroughs for me was playing for Santa Clara Sporting. We played right next to where the 49er Stadium is now. And amazing club. I owe a lot to them. They create a lot of opportunities for me.
Were you playing there when the U.S. Residency Program found you?
That's right. Yeah, I was kind of in between. I was playing for them, traveling to England for my trial runs with West Ham, but already knowing I was wanting to sign. And then funny enough, U17's call, and they're like, hey, we're getting ready for the World Cup. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months from now. And I was like, well, it's a good opportunity in between this time of me, transitioning onto Europe. And yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And that was a good experience in itself too. I'm not sure if they do that program anymore, but
yeah,
but it was for that time. I thought it was very good because again, there wasn't as much opportunity in the academy space as there is now.
I wanted to ask about the residency program because I don't think they do that bit anymore. And when I sat with Paul Ariola, he was part of that too. What was your experience with that? It's down in Florida, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I guess you can look at it many ways. Some guys were there 2 years. I think, when they turned 15, 16, going to school there, everything was provided by U.S. Soccer. dorm room kind of life. Thankfully, I didn't have to live there for that long. It was more of a 3 to 4 month period for me. And it was a little bit of a lockdown. You're kind of locked in. But I guess for many, and myself included, it was a good opportunity to just really lock in on what soccer is 100% of the time. Was it draining like anything? Yeah, sure. But I think I learned a lot, and that's why I'm already that type of person anyways, to embrace certain challenges, certain experiences that come your way, especially at that time where it was like, all right, if I want to take the next step, I got to kind of do whatever it takes.
Yeah. You mentioned West Ham a few times now. How did that whole thing start? Because it was kind of rare back then for a young player to go to Europe like that.
Yeah, it was insane, man. I mean, going back to Santa Clara Sporting, which is the club that kind of orchestrated or kind of made it happen in a sense, because there was a scout that they were having come over, and he was doing like a coaching clinic and talking about how to look for players, and he was doing coaching courses, and he would gather courses around the coaches around the Bay Area to come and see what they do in Europe, things like that. And we were kind of like the guinea pigs, and I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time, and so really young. And I was one of those kids, that he was kind of using, and sometimes he just let us play after he would kind of do his coaching stuff. And yeah, I mean, I guess I showed what I can do. He saw little spells of me kind of doing my thing, and he was very impressed. So he went to my dad and was like, "Hey, I want to bring your son to West Ham for a 2-week trial and see how it goes. We've never done this before, but let's see. Let's see it. I see something." So my dad immediately, without even asking me, like he's going. You know what I mean? And but again, it aligned with what I wanted, especially at the time. All I wanted to be was a professional. So yeah, exciting.
Is that 13, 14, 8?
Yeah, that was my first.
Wow.
That was my first.
But you didn't go over till a few years later, right?
So I did go over. I'd say from that point, I'd say around 6 months after that.
Okay.
And so I was a 13-year-old, and I remember playing a couple years above because my age group wasn't playing at the time. And so it was crazy. It was kind of a weird story, kind of like a serendipitous, perfect timing, because I got to show what I could do with age groups above my level. And at the same time, there was a game that day, and I got to play 20 minutes in, like an under-16 game, and I was 13. And I came in, first touch score, kind of like perfect timing stuff. And after that, literally right after that game, they said, "We want to sign you, and we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen." And I was like, and in that time, I'm like, but there's also a lot of challenges along the way because of the restrictions with American players going to Europe.
Passports and whatnot.
Yeah, passports, exactly. So they helped me through that process, but that did take a while.
How old were you when you moved there permanently to be part of their youth teams?
I believe it took me around 2 to 3 years, so I was around 16 when I fully moved over. But I had to wait, I think, 2 more years to actually sign a contract. I was living there full time, but couldn't play scheduled games.
Gotcha.
I had to play only friendlies,
like an unregistered player sort of thing.
Yeah, and just train.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot. I was like, I gotta immerse myself in this experience, and so it was kind of like, when is the passport coming in? When is the passport coming in? One of those things, and it took a long time.
What was it like making the transition to moving there and living there full time? Still as a teenager. I mean, it's more common nowadays for soccer players to do that in the U.S., but back then it was pretty rare. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was very, very difficult, to be honest with you. It was, I guess, amazing. It was everything, right? It was amazing. It was hard. It was tough. It was sad. It was joyful, because and you're kind of being raised in this whole new culture. I was still in high school, basically, like a sophomore or entering sophomore. Had to leave school, enter a whole new curriculum, a whole new student campus, athletes, just a whole new culture in general. It was insane, to be honest. It was a lot thrown at me.
Yeah.
But I grew up quick. I think it built some thick skin, and I'm grateful for it. Yeah.
As you got older, what was it like playing games for West Ham? And that's a huge club in England.
Yeah, and I didn't even know at the time. I'm going to be honest. I just knew they were in the Premier League, but I didn't know the history behind it. I didn't know the history with their academy. I didn't know how many players that came through that academy. Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, even John Terry at the time, Joe Cole. Like, insane English, So learning all that, I was like, wow, like, clearly they know how to develop players. Mm-hmm. I could possibly be one of those players that and I think I did. I think I really did maximize with the people who were there at the time. Maximize what I could learn. And then people sometimes don't align with your style of play. You kind of learn the nature of the business.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that because unfortunately you didn't really break through and play and become like a West Ham regular in the Premier League. So you had to come back to the States to really establish yourself. But what was it like living over there and not getting games and kind of struggling to break through?
That was probably the toughest part because the amount of doubt that goes through you. I mean, I know we all experience doubt, but when you're 20 years old, 21 years old, and everybody's looking at you like. It's almost like as if you're washed up and you haven't played. Even more so now. It's probably worse. If you're not playing games at 18 years old, you're like, oh, I have no chance. But even then, when I was turning 20, the older you get and the less experience you have at the highest level, people are just like passing you along. You know what I mean? And that was very difficult. So, what do? You have to adapt. You gotta make your way. So. See your options. Didn't have many, to be honest with you, and that's when like the LA Galaxy called and it was like, we'll take you on and see how this goes for both of us, and thankfully it went all right.
Leads me to my next question. How did the LA Galaxy move happen? Because that's probably where most people would have learned about you.
Yeah, it's fun. Funny story. I mean, it's kind of a full circle because Kenny Arena, Bruce Arena's son, was the coach of UCLA when I was around 16 years old. And so he actually sent me a handwritten letter, which I still have. And he was like, I want to give you a full ride to, I want him to commit to UCLA and we want him here. And so it was kind of like, do I go, it's like that route. Do I go this route or do I go this route? Professional or college, full ride, 4 years or whatever it is. And, obviously I took the professional route, but always had that relationship with Kenny, and so when we called him up, me and my agent, he was the assistant coach to Bruce, and they obviously I think Bruce was kind of in between, to be honest with you. Obviously I know him very well now, but he was experienced of winning championships, dealing with experienced players. Here's this kid that Kenny believes in, but he's not too sure, and if you know Bruce, he'll tell you that. So they got me over, took a chance. I think I was full of energy, full of just energy for opportunity, and they gave it to me, and they gave me an out. It wasn't even easy. It was like I had to really squeeze in there, and I had to take my opportunities, and it happened.
What was it like coming back to the States, first of all, and to your home state, and also MLS at that time?
I think it was. There's a lot of faith involved, because you're kind of like, all right, I've been in Europe. MLS was growing, but not to where it is now. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, all right, you're kind of betting on yourself, betting on this league kind of being able to propel you forward, and then and just like hearing what the LA Galaxy, being in my hometown. So I was kind of like, as far as the home state, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back home. I've been away from home for years. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. That part, I was like really excited. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. Feel the sun again. In England, we don't get no sun.
Better weather for sure.
Yeah, better weather, all these things, family really close. All those like beautiful things you want to experience, playing close to family, having them come to games. So I was excited, you know what I mean? It was a good time. I only had plans to kind of maybe spend a year there, and then I ended up spending 6 years there. So it was a wild ride, but it worked out.
What's it like playing for the Galaxy, especially back then? It's definitely the biggest club in MLS. You think of the stars they have. Like that was just coming off the Donovan years, and then you played with Zlatan as well. Yeah. What's it like playing in kind of like that centerpiece club of the whole league?
Yeah, especially at that time, it was like come in. You better come in, and you got to like kind of adapt to the mentality of like winning.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I like do whatever it takes because you had like Robbie Keane, you know, I think the year I came, you had shortly after you had Gio, you had Steven Gerrard. Yeah, it was like crazy, you know, and I think just the history of the club, every time you walk out to training, you know, you walk by the trophies.
Yep.
And it was just like always that constant reminder, like, this is what we're here to do,
Yep.
you know, and it's been done before. So this is like the legacy that you're now carrying on. And so, I mean, I learned a lot. Like, it was high pressure, like higher pressure. And I enjoyed that part. I got to learn that part, you know, and be part of it. I never got to experience lifting the trophy in the sense with the Galaxy, unfortunately, but I got to see what the fans were like, got to see what, you know, even when we'd have like the alumni come and it was like you just see the players that have played for this club and you're like, all right, I got to, you know, I want to live up to this.
For sure. And you're playing under Bruce Arena then.
Right.
Probably the greatest coach in MLS history if you look back what he did with DC in the early days and then Galaxy when they had that dynasty. And he also was your coach there, but also brought you into the national team when he coached the national team. So he's clearly a big figure in your soccer career. What's it like playing for him? What's your relationship?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for Bruce. You know, he knows that to this day. He's, you know, again, someone who gave me an opportunity and gave me a chance when not many would. And, you know, and somebody who's proven himself over and over again clearly has a secret sauce that not many can tap into, and it's just his way of doing things, and he's just very unique. And yeah, I mean, I've even there's been tough times, there's been really, really good times, and you know, and I'm glad that the opportunity is that. But he's never. One thing I will say is, it's not to pat myself, but I don't think he's ever given gifts at the same time. You know, he kind of like, he'll give you the opportunity, but you still have to earn it in the sense. So I think inside a player, in this case me, you still walk away like, all right, I earned that. It's not like we just have a good relationship and, you know, he's still going to get on me. He's still going to tell me when I'm not good enough. Yeah. He's still going to, you know, but then he's going to tell you when you are. So
he's still Bruce, right?
Yeah, he's still Bruce. He still has the balance, yeah.
But he did bring you into the national team 2017. Just what's it like playing for your country?
Yeah, that was incredible. That was something that has been brewing up even during the Jurgen time. You know, I was playing really well for the Galaxy, never really getting a shot. And I was not really thinking about it too much. I was like, if it happens, it happens, but whatever. And then obviously he gets the job and brings me into a January camp. Again, slowly bringing me up. But I felt like I was playing as good as I could have played at that moment to deserve that spot to deserve that opportunity. And I think it was against, you're taking me down memory lane. I think first cap was against Serbia in San Diego. And I think Paul was at the game. We were just talking about that. Yeah. It was funny. And I mean, from that moment, like, really cool experience. Like, playing for your country is insane. Yeah. You know, like, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, especially when it's like the big time games and things are on the line as opposed to like just friendlies. That's like, it takes it up like 100 notches.
It's just different than playing for your club, you'd say.
Yeah, it's just different. It's I think there's just more on the line somehow. Yeah. I think like with your club, it's huge, right? You still have, you know, fans that you want to impress, fans that or you know, a badge that you want to, you know, blood, sweat, and tears for. But then when you put on the country, it's just it just has another like 100-pound weight on your shoulder, you know, and it's how you manage that. That's like the difference between. I think there's a lot of great players like that can play for the national team, but it's like when you get into the game and you're wearing that jersey, who can handle the pressure better, you know? Yeah.
2021 Gold Cup win over Mexico. You think that's the highlight of your national team career for you? Or
that was pretty incredible. Yeah, that was because if we're honest, I don't think you know, they had a really good team. You know, like Mexico, and we had a good team too, but it was mainly domestic players, and there weren't. Just because of schedules, there weren't a lot of European-based players. Gotcha. So it's kind of an opportunity for MLS players to kind of show what we can do. And Mexico having, at that time, the strongest team that they could have, other than maybe like a Carlos Vela, they, you know, and the fact that we won was like, it was insane. And having 80,000 people, you know, just whistle you, throw beer at you, do all sorts of stuff. from the get. As soon as you walk out, it's like you're entering like hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's pretty cool looking back at it.
Intense games.
Yeah.
So with the national team, is that where you would have met Nico Estevez, assistant coach there at the time, now coach of FC Dallas?
Yeah, another full circle moment.
Yeah,
Yeah. With Nico, I've always had a good relationship with Nico, and he was such a good assistant for Greg, and I knew him maybe 3-4 years before he got the job here at FC Dallas, and yes, I was very happy for him. I know he wanted to take that step, and I knew Greg would always support him and try to elevate him in his coaching career. And the fact that what he's done here so far is I think is great, and I think his aspirations and his dreams of getting FC Dallas to where it needs to be is never. It never goes unnoticed here. He always brings it every day. Every meeting, that dream, that those goals are always set and always said and spoken about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Taking a little step, looking forward now. You still got plenty of years of your playing career left, but have you ever thought about what you're going to do post-playing career? Because I know it's a really difficult transition for pro athletes especially. I mean, career change for anybody is tough, but I think for pro athletes, since they've been playing that game since they were literally kids, stepping away from that is bigger than stepping away from a law career or something like that.
And it's very difficult. There's a lot of ties and attachments to our, soccer is like part of our identity. And then you suddenly like take that away as a player, and it's very, very difficult. I'm sure coaches have the same type of feeling, but as a player, it's like, what do you mean I'm not going to go to training right now? I have like the rest of what I don't know what retirement feels like essentially, but I've already kind of painted that picture, and I'm like, wow, I just better start now implementing certain habits and reaching out to people, relationships. And that's why I'm grateful for the game, because it goes way beyond the ball rolling on the field, because the relationships that you grow in this game, and if you're open to it, like they can really help you afterwards, And so I'm really grateful for that, because then I've tried to take those opportunities, because when the ball stops rolling and you hang up those boots, I know people answer your call a little bit differently, and that's just the reality. We're all humans, and so kind of positioning yourself the best you can up until that moment, but also not letting it take over you and have anxiety. You know what I mean? You have to like focus on, or have it be your priority, like have soccer be your priority up until then. But when we're not here, try to like start speaking to people, see what you're into, see what passions you have, see what you're good at, other than the game, or if it's part of the game. Like some people, Jimmy wants to be probably a GM one day. You know what I mean? So and he has the ability to do that. He's doing all the proper steps, slowly but surely. So by the time he walks out of here, he's in a much better position than if he just started when he retired. For sure. So he's a good example.
Yeah, a little more off the field stuff. I want to ask about your diet.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm sure you've answered a lot of questions about that before. But anybody who follows you on Instagram can tell that you follow a very strict diet. Walk me through what you eat in a day, or what you plan out your weeks, meal planning.
I'm the guy who I know everybody refers to me as like the no carb guy, but that's not true. It's not true. It's not entirely true. I obviously go with it, and it's funny, and I take it overboard sometimes, but I just try to be as disciplined as possible. That's basically kind of where that comes from. From a young age, I just knew if I want to get to where I want to go, I got to do things that not many. You got to do things that basically not others would do. You got to go where you haven't been before. And so I always try to keep doing that. Every year I was like, what else can I do to move the needle to be where I want to be? And so for me, it's like nutrition. It's like I think a lot of people, I don't want to look back and be like, damn, I could have ate better. I could have I could have just done this better. It's like, if I can control this, I will control it. So if I can control what I consume, I'll do that, And so that's kind of where that stems from. But yeah, it's definitely, and there's definitely, I'm not gonna lie, there's an aesthetic part to all this, which I think that's always the funny part. It's like, all right, Seb, it's all right. But, but I enjoy it. I always enjoy the banter. I enjoy posting online and then coming in and everybody's cracking jokes. I enjoy that.
Well, it's good motivation for all of us. I appreciate that. A couple of quick questions for you, and then we'll let you go.
Okay.
First up, what's the best atmosphere you've played in, stadium-wise?
Best atmosphere, I think, because of the moment. It would have to be that 2021 Gold Cup final. Yeah,
What stadium was that in?
What's that? That was Allegiant Stadium in Vegas.
Got it. Oh, yeah.
That was that one or the one in Denver, also against Mexico. We won the Nations League. It was a couple months prior.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that one, but both like against Mexico.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
makes
like
sense.
it's too special. There's something about that game, something about the fans just being against you, and like, yeah, it's just wild. It's just different.
No surprise there. USA,
Yeah.
Mexico,
Yeah.
gotta be. Next one. Who's the best player you've played against? And a little wrinkle. I'm not asking about like looking at their whole career. I'm talking about in the game that you played against the guy on the other team where you're like, that's the best performance against me or my team that I've seen in person.
Damn, I've never thought about this one.
Because you've played against Messi, so we all figured that one.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I hate to say it because it might sound like, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of weird. Yeah, that was weird because I didn't want to like look at him the way we all look
Everyone
at him.
looks
You
at
know,
him, yeah.
I really didn't. I think we all didn't when we played there, but I realized that with him, and it would be him to answer your question, but it's him because there's no like, I hope he has a bad game today. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I noticed. I was like, oh, like, we're all here. Like, hopefully he's not on tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there is none of that.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't really exist. And I think that's where it's like he's just on another level because he'll sniff something and it's like there's punishment immediately. Like, there's no, he's not, like, just messing up, like, constantly over and over again. It's like when he gets the ball, the game stops. You know, and so, yeah, that was probably a really, it's weird. I know, and I know people will tell you that, and people in Europe will tell you that, people everywhere will tell you that, and it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Oh, he's the best player. You know.
It's weird, man, and he deserves it.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
What's the best goal you've scored in your whole career? I'm talking youth career too. If you want to
Youth
describe
career?
it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Career.
Maybe I'll show you that. I'll tell you about that one, so you don't have a video for it. And I scored from the goal kick. No. Oh my God, I really enjoyed. I scored. I scored a good goal with the Revolution. It was kind of like a bicycle kick. It was against Cincinnati away. I really enjoyed that because I was like, nobody's expecting me to do this right now. And as soon as the ball was in the air, I knew exactly what I was going to do and just connected perfectly. I really enjoyed that goal. Yeah, that was like probably one of my favorites.
Anytime you have a bicycle kick in your repertoire,
Yeah, you got to throw that one in there. You got
Messi bicycle kick. You know,
hopefully they play the highlight right after I say that. So it's like you got to like picture it. Yeah.
We'll have it in there. What's your go-to cheat meal?
Ooh, that's a good question. I got to go In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out?
In-N-Out Burger.
Cali guy, right?
But what I do, and I know this is crazy, I always check where the In-N-Out is, and I always check where the Chick-fil-A is.
Okay.
And, to all the Chick-fil-A fans, I'm checking that box. And I'll go to Chick-fil-A for the fries. And then I'll literally go drive through, get the fries. I'm super excited because I never do the cheat meal. And so then I drive to In-N-Out, and I don't care, no shame.
Okay.
Because I'm like, this is a big moment for me. I don't do this all the time.
Yeah, make the most of it.
I'm going to make the most of it. I go for it.
All about the waffle fries, I guess.
The waffle fries. I'm a waffle fry guy.
Who's your childhood hero?
Childhood hero. Oh, my God. Man. I know. I mean, obviously, your father plays a huge influence. Who's my hero? Oh my God, I'd have to say my sisters. I know it's like a different one, but they were my heroes. Yeah, they taught me a lot. They're so different, and I think I learned growing up. When I think about people who've influenced me, I think of them in many different ways. So I would say my sisters.
Perfect. Yeah. Who are you closest to on the team?
Oh, Martin. Yeah. I mean, I'm close with everybody. Like, I really am. I'm one of those guys who tries to talk to everybody, but I've gravitated towards Martin. You know, you just build relationships. Paul as well. I mean, we've known each other for years. So, it's almost like Paul is like a given. So, but somebody who maybe I met here in FC Dallas, Martin, you know, he's grown to be a really, really good friend of mine. And, I'm super excited for everything he's doing. Yeah. He's such a big talent, and I think sky's the limit for him for here at FC Dallas or for wherever the future goes for him. So someone I'm very close to.
Or with Indonesia for him.
Or Indonesia, that's right. The
exciting,
the
man.
new wave, the new wave.
Very exciting. What's your favorite away trip in MLS?
Oh, that's a good question.
You've been to probably every
you
stadium.
know where it would be? It's funny enough. Toronto. And
Toronto,
I'm missing
okay.
it. And I'm
Okay.
missing it.
Oh,
I know.
Oh,
It's
man.
killing me, dude.
What about Toronto?
There's just something about I love that city. I like Canada. I'm one of those people.
Okay.
I like Canada. I don't know if that's a hot take, but
It's not, kinda,
yeah, no,
everyone
but
likes
I
that.
like the six, man. I don't know. The Toronto's just like a cool city to me. It's a cool vibe, and yeah, and it's like always far away, so it's always like I'm not gonna be there that much.
Yeah,
but,
especially on the West Coast teams. You only play them once every
exactly.
3 years.
So it was like, that's like a
Yeah.
cool trip.
If you didn't play soccer, what would you be doing, you think?
God, that's always the toughest question.
Yeah.
It's always the toughest one because you just can't imagine it, not doing it. I think I'd be in school. I'd be doing something in business, trying to grind out something. And I love photography. I love art. So I think like if I could find something within all of that,
open up a
but I
studio
think this
or
is like the best time in modern, like to be in entrepreneurship, be
sure.
creative,
Yeah.
kind of blur so many lines. So who knows what I could have made up with that. But I think you'll see after I play soccer, you'll see a bit of that.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. What's your favorite song right now?
Ooh. Oh my God! I mean, really enjoying this beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I don't know if all the people know. I don't know if your explore pages are popping off, but I'm really enjoying that. So anything they come out with right now, I'm on all the podcasts.
Okay.
I'm going crazy with it. So I'm enjoying that part. That's probably both their diss tracks, and I'm sure more to come. So
Guessing you're on Drake's side of this whole thing?
It's tough. I am.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying it more for the sport of like hip hop. I'm a big
Okay.
hip hop fan, so
Nice,
it's like
nice.
I am biased, but I'm also leaving room for everything.
Gotcha.
You know?
A few more for you. What other sports or teams do you follow?
So big Golden State fan, Niner fan.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, bandwagon." Yeah, because
You're from there. You're from
but
there.
I'm actually
That's fair.
from there.
You're
But I'm
from
actually
there.
from there, so I got ties. But I love basketball. Love basketball. So I'll definitely watch. Like I'll be watching all the playoff games now. Definitely go Mavs. Definitely the team we're rooting for, especially with the ties here. Yeah, I would say those.
Gotcha. What's your favorite and least favorite thing about living in Texas?
Favorite thing is the how nice people are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say how good people are. I learned that really quick. Really good people, really accommodating, hospitality through the roof. So really enjoy that. And then you said least
favorite. Yeah.
probably the heat.
Heat, that's fair, that's fair.
Gotta be the heat
That's
because
fair.
I know it's coming. We're in spring and it's beautiful
Yeah.
outside, but I know it's coming. It's like yeah.
Especially for a sport that plays through summer. Like, I don't know how
Yeah,
y'all do it.
exactly.
It's 100 and y'all
Exactly, yeah.
train
It's
4
gonna-
times a week and then play a game on Saturday in it. I don't know how you do it. I truly don't.
Man. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I always forget. Yeah, it's just great. I go back to like that game against Inter Miami here, and it was like 8 at night, and it was like 90 degrees, and I was just like, how is this hot right now? Like my body wants, like my mind wants to go to that ball, and I can't.
It just says no. Last one for you, Sebastian. Who on the team should we have on the podcast next?
I think you'd have a good time with Martin.
Martin.
Martin, I think, has a lot to say. He always does, especially with this Indonesian. But I think there's a lot of interesting guys. I would start with Martin.
Martin?
I know I'm biased,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think he actually would give you a good.
I had him on like
time.
two years ago, but a lot's changed for him in the
Lots
last 2
changed.
years. So
I think,
there's plenty
I
of new
think-
stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I think Asi too. I think
Yeah, Asi would be great.
just
Asi.
because of his history and
Yeah.
where he's played and
Exactly.
kind of give you perspective. On
I need to
like
learn some
another
more
culture.
Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'd be good too.
Yeah, he'd be great. Well, that's all I had for you, man. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.